It appears to be the biggest twist so far in the run-up to the U.S. presidential elections. The incumbent president of the United States, Joe Biden, has decided to withdraw his candidature against Donald Trump. Late last night, the U.S. president released a statement on social networking website X, where he confirmed he would not be running for re-election. In his statement, he said it was the greatest honor of his life to serve as president, and while it was his intention to seek re-election, it's in the best interests of the party and the nation that he has decided to stand down. Joe Biden says he will now focus on fulfilling his duty for the remainder of his term and speak later this week in detail about his decision.
It's a historical moment. Joe Biden is not going to be the Democratic presidential nominee. He's out of the race, and there's two big reasons for this. The first was his debate performance against Donald Trump. He showed his full 81 years. He stammered, he struggled to answer, he struggled to fight for himself, let alone the American people who he says he's defending. This caused panic among donors and fellow lawmakers and raised fundamental questions about his age. The second major factor in this was the Democrats' own anxiety about beating Trump. They see a second Trump presidency as a danger to democracy, a possible end of the constitutional republic. They look at the ideas floated by Trump on tariffs as making inflation worse. They worry about the debt. They worry about international alliances. They fear Trump. And that overriding fear of Trump is what compelled them to say they needed another candidate for president.
So you heard the people after Joe Biden expressed that he will not be running for the presidential election anymore now. As Joe Biden stepped down from the race, the U.S. president put out another post on X a short while later, announcing his nominee for president. Calling the move to appoint Kamala Harris as his vice president his best decision, Biden announced he offers full support and endorsement to Kamala Harris to be the nominee this year and has called on Democrats to come together to beat Trump.
It looks like Vice President Kamala Harris is going to face Donald Trump in November. Harris finds herself in something of an unusual position. She was Joe Biden's vice president, and now, after much debate and drama, she's the Democrats' presidential candidate. Her background is unique, particularly because Harris exemplifies two key coalitions that Democrats need to have turnout in November. Not only is she a woman, but she's a woman of color with both South Asian and black heritage. Those groups, women and non-white voters, have been key Democratic coalitions, and this will be a test of her ability to turn them out. We've seen as the campaign got closer that the former California senator and California state attorney general has focused on issues like abortion, on issues like voting rights, appealing specifically to those blocs. That's something of a difference from the start of her time in the Biden administration, when she was more focused on countries in Central America regarding immigration and kind of going out as a general surrogate for the president. Now, she needs to show that she can take those issues and build on them more and more on issues involving the economy, national security, and climate change. What Democrats say they want is a fighter. And in Harris, they have someone who's had many stare downs in Senate committee hearings and in courtrooms. But now that stare down is going to be against Trump.
But what really happens next? Joe Biden's exit throws the presidential race wide open for other aspirants in the Democratic Party, and the ultimate decision to pick the nominee lies with the Democratic National Committee. The DNC will hold a convention in Chicago from August 19 to 22, where the delegates will vote for the nominee for president and vice president. About 3,896 candidates will vote for the nominee, and any candidate would need about 51% of the votes, or 1,968 votes to be named the nominee. While Biden's endorsement of Kamala Harris is likely to influence his supporter delegates to vote for her as well, the decision would be clear following the election at the DNC this August.
I think it's best. I didn't see him beating Trump, and so it will be interesting to see how all things hash out. Looks like it's going to be Kamala Harris, which I'm fine with. But I just didn't feel like he was our best shot to beat Trump. You know, it's not a given that Kamala Harris is going to be the nominee. If she's not, then I think there's going to be more bad blood within the Democratic Party. That's why I'm uncertain. I'm not positive what's going to happen next, and it makes me a little bit nervous.
After stepping down, Biden has expressed his confidence in Kamala Harris. And when we talk about Kamala Harris, she already has set campaign apparatus, already has access to the campaign funds also, and has endorsed President Biden for a long time. If we talk about option 2, the new nominee would have to launch a campaign. The Democratic Party would be launching a campaign. Limited time and access to funds must garner support among the DNC. Now we have to see who is going to be the candidate for this. Now let's move on.